So students, welcome to NEET class biology. As we have successfully finished the first chapter, reproduction in organisms, today we will discuss second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, so sexual reproduction in flowering plants. This is, name only indicates, see, sexual reproduction in plants. We are not discussing about animals at all. Okay, so which is a part in a plant which is meant for reproduction in plants? Which part of the plant is involved in producing gametes or sex cells? See, I am asking questions in different way, answer is same. Which is the sexually reproductive part of the plant? That is flower. Okay, so flower is the reproductive part of the plant. Why flower is reproductive part of the plant? Because flower contains both male and female reproductive organs. Which is that? Male reproductive organ is in flower, it is called androecium. Female, you know this because already you have learnt in theory in detail, and you have written test also on this chapter. So you know, I will not go that deep to teach because you already know, but it is my habit to teach, so I will teach. So male reproductive part is called androecium, female reproductive part is called gynoecium. Gynoecium. Androecium is nothing but stamen. Gynoecium is nothing but, it has three parts, that is ovary, style, stigma. You already know this. Stamen will be long elongated structure. Okay, this part is called, bulbous structure is called anther, and the long stalk like structure is called filament. Okay, inside the anther it produces very minute female gamete, that is pollen grains. Okay, in case of in case of flower with female reproductive part, it has three parts. That is, ovary is a lower part, in future becomes fruit. Then this is long slender structure, style, and the bulbous structure or knob like structure present on the top is stigma. Okay, so as flower contains androecium, that is male reproductive part or stamen, or sometimes bisexual flower. Unisexual flower means, it contains either only male reproductive part or only female reproductive part. Like if flower has only male reproductive part, only androecium, only stamens, then it is called as male flower, or it is also called staminate flower. Staminate means it contains stamens. So staminate flower or male flower. If flower contains only female reproductive part, that is only gynoecium, okay, then it is female flower. Okay, so sometimes if it is bisexual flower, bisexual means, it has, bi means two, it has both male and female reproductive part, that is both androecium and gynoecium. So to know what are the parts in flower meant for reproduction, so we should know the structure of flower. This is cross section of a flower. Okay. So the lower part, what is there? That is called pedicel or stalk. Then these are green leaf-like structures. These are called sepals. Sepals in biology we call it as calyx. Calyx. And these are petals in English. In biology we call it as corolla. Calyx or green leaf-like structures present at the base of a flower, that is sepals. Okay, and these are colorful petals, they are called corolla. Then these are structures what I am talking about. See, if I should show in colors, how many are there? See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are the long elongated structures like this. If I should show here, the structures are like this. Okay, these are the structures which is male reproductive part, that is stamens. Okay, male reproductive part in general we call it as androecium. General word. Androecium, male reproductive part in flower is stamen. Okay, female reproductive part is this. See this structure, what is there here? I will show you in yellow color. See, this is a part. Okay. The lower part is called ovary, which is bulbous. Then long elongated structure is style. Then this knob-like structure is called a stigma. You know this. Okay, so female reproductive part is like this. So lower part is ovary and a long slender structure style, and knob-like structure is stigma. So stamen is male reproductive part. Then gynoecium. Gynoecium. Okay, that is also called pistil sometimes. Pistil, that is female reproductive part. Okay, symbol. You know this. First year you have learnt already. Okay, so why did we learn the structure of a flower here? Because in plants, in higher plants, we are talking about angiosperms. Angiosperm means flowering plants. Okay, angion word refers to vessel, vessel-like structure. Vessel means, you know, like a flower vase, we keep flower in that. Okay, vessel-like structure which is bulbous at the base, then it narrows. Okay, so this is nothing but bulbous structure. So angion means vessel-like structure. Okay, sperma means seed. Seed will be present here inside the vessel-like structure. That is nothing but angiosperms. Angiosperm means flowering plants. Okay, so we are discussing about flowering plants in the heading C, flowering plants. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. We learned the structure of a flower because we are discussing about part of a plant which is meant for sexual reproduction. Which part of the plant is meant for sexual reproduction? That is flower. Flower is a sexually reproductive part of a plant. Okay. Male reproductive part is called androecium. Female reproductive part is called gynoecium. Okay. So now you can compare it to same first chapter. You remember there are 3 events of reproduction. 3 events in this reproduction. That is, first event is what happens before fertilization, that is called pre-fertilization, you know this. Then second, union of male and female gametes, that is fertilization. Then third, after fertilization, formation of zygote and embryogenesis, that is called post-fertilization. I don't have to explain because first chapter is, whole chapter is about these 3 steps only, whole chapter. We have already learnt it. Okay. So, under pre-fertilization, see, fertilization means what? Union of male and female gametes. That is, in case of plants, okay, male gamete, that is, pollen grains meets the egg. Pollen grain meets the egg. Okay, pollen grain, actually inside the pollen grain there are 2 gametes, that is vegetative nucleus and generative nucleus or tube nucleus. That meets egg. Okay, egg and polar nuclei, you know, double fertilization, triple fusion, you know. So, union of male and female gametes, okay, that is called fertilization. Okay, what happens before fertilization? You compare it to human beings. Suppose fertilization is union of male and female gametes. Male gamete is sperm, female gamete is egg. When sperm meets the egg, that is fertilization. Before fertilization, what should happen? Sperm and egg should be produced in the body first. Sperm and egg should be available for fertilization. Okay, do you think newborn baby in humans produce sperm? No, it cannot produce. So here flower should mature and start producing androecium and gynoecium, that is stamen and pistil. When it produces both male and female reproductive organs, okay, then only double fertilization, triple fusion happens, that is actual fertilization. So what should happen before fertilization then? Formation of stamen, that is androecium, and formation of gynoecium should happen in the flower. That means flower, first it will be bud, flower bud, then it blooms, it opens and becomes a mature flower. Then male and female reproductive organs should become mature. Okay, okay, then pollen grains should be produced in the stamen, that is in the anther, and egg should be produced in gynoecium. So both should happen. So under pre-fertilization 2 stages are there, you know this. What is that? Gametogenesis, that is gamete formation. First male and female gamete should be produced. Once they are produced, they should be transferred from one plant to other plant, or same plant from one flower to other flower, or same flower. Okay, that is nothing but gamete transfer. Gamete transfer in plants is by pollination. It is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Okay, then comes, once pollen grains are transferred to stigma, then comes fertilization, union of male and female gametes. Okay, then after fertilization, what happens? After fertilization, what happens? Zygote is produced, isn't it? Here it is, what is produced? Endosperm is produced, isn't it? So that all stages are what we call post-fertilization stages. Okay, so this is not there in the book, these steps are not there, it was there in the first chapter, but it is applicable to second chapter also, because now you tell me under this chapter next what we are going to learn. We are going to learn about formation of pollen grains in the anther, that is male reproductive part. Formation of pollen grains in the anther, which is male reproductive part, is nothing but gamete formation, because pollen grain formation is nothing but gamete formation there. Okay, so under pre-fertilization, first step, that is gamete formation. So in this chapter, first pollen grain formation in the anther we will learn, then how egg is produced in the gynoecium we will learn, then fertilization, before that pollination, types of pollination, which is gamete transfer, then double fertilization, triple fusion, then post fertilization stages we will learn. Okay, that is formation of embryo, then formation of endosperm, formation of seed. Okay, formation of seed, then seeds will be produced inside the fruit. So we are going to learn till fruits. Okay, so these are the stages. After fertilization, what happens? After fertilization, embryo, and embryo becomes seed, and seed will be produced inside the fruit. So then chapter finishes. Okay, so for NEET we have to discuss a lot. And one surprising fact I'll tell you. Most of the students will be worried about NEET. They think that in NEET, okay, which is conducted by NTA. NTA means National Testing Agency. Some students think that they ask questions much beyond the textbook, out of the textbook, out of the syllabus. They used to ask. So to be on the safer side, we usually learn much beyond the textbook also. Okay, but from past 2 years, that is 2019 and 2020, okay, even 2018 also, past 2 to 3 years, they are asking NEET questions from the textbook only, that is NCERT textbooks only. Okay, direct question they are asking from the textbook. So if you ask this year who wrote in 2020, whoever wrote a NEET exam, they say biology was easy there because they asked most of the questions from the textbook. But in case if they ask something out of the textbook, that's why we learn NEET class in detail. But usually from past 2-3 years they are asking from the textbook. That's why I say textbook is like a Bhagavad Gita for you. You should read textbook only. Don't read notes. Okay. I don't prefer notes because you write something wrong in the notes, then the same thing you read. But for the board exam and for the NEET, they ask exact sentence what is there in the textbook. For example, they give 4 options. Those 4 options will be sentence given in the textbook. Okay, one word also here and there. If one word is missing, 4 options they give. Okay, that means whatever sentence is there in the textbook, word by word you should know. Okay, then, and a surprising fact, NTA, National Testing Agency, has developed an app called Abhyas app. Abhyas. Okay. Why I am mentioning this? Because this year from this Abhyas app is developed by NTA only. NTA only conducts NEET exam. NTA only developed the Abhyas app, and in that Abhyas app, every day one question paper they give to students for solving. Okay, and this year 2020 NEET questions, most of the questions directly as it is they asked from Abhyas. You can ask this year students. Okay, as it is questions, not even one word here and there, no change. Exactly what was there in Abhyas app. Most of the questions directly they asked in NEET as it is, because NTA is an organization which conducts NEET, and NTA only developed this Abhyas app. Okay, so NTA gives one question paper every day. You can solve and you will come to know how much you score out of 720. Okay, so now if you solve, it is of no use because you don't know all the chapters. But based on how many chapters you have learnt, now first year CET is already over for you. This Abhyas app question paper, whatever they give every day, okay, you don't have to pay money for this. Okay, so this one, first year all the topics, and second year one topic we finished. From those topics, that is 22 chapters of first year and first one chapter in second year, what we learnt NEET. So 23 chapters out of 38 chapters in biology, 38 chapter means first year 22, second year 16 chapters. So together it is 38 chapters in biology, first year and second year. Out of that already 23 chapters you know. So Abhyas app, whenever it gives question paper, you try to solve questions of these 23 chapters which you have already learnt. Okay, once you finish all 38 chapters, then every day one question paper given by NTA, Abhyas app, you can learn. Okay, I gave you this information, I thought to give you. Okay. So next we will continue. So under pre-fertilization, first step is gametogenesis, that is formation of gametes. So now we are going to learn formation of gamete in flower. Which gamete? First we will learn formation of male gamete. So male gamete here, pollen grain. So process of formation of pollen grain, that process is called microsporogenesis. How and Y. What is the relation between pollen grain word and microsporogenesis? Pollen grain is very small, dust like a chalk dust, very small structure. So as the size of the pollen grain is very small, so they call it as pollen grain as microspore. Other name for pollen grain is microspore. So formation of these pollen grains or microspores in the anther of a flower. Flower means flower, what you say. Pronunciation is flower. Formation of pollen grains or formation of microspores in the anther of a flower is called microsporogenesis. You know that word genesis refers to formation. Okay, these words are not English words. Most of the biology words are derived from Latin or Greek, you know. So first we are going to learn now formation of pollen grains, which is also called microspore. So we are going to learn now process called microsporogenesis. Okay, it comes under gametogenesis or nothing but gamete formation, which is first step of pre-fertilization. After gametogenesis, gamete transfer. Okay, microsporogenesis, that is, micro means small, microspore means other name for pollen grain. Pollen grain is only called as microspore. So process of formation of pollen grains in the anther of a flower is called microsporogenesis. Genesis means formation. I am not teaching deeply, okay, because you already know this. You already know this. It is not that you don't know anything. I am teaching for the first time. This is teaching for the second time. So this is like a recap. This is like already you have learned. This is recap of that. Okay, so my teaching method is different. I teach very slowly. If you don't know, then I'll teach even very slowly, very, very slowly. This is synopsis. You have already learnt it. You already know these concepts. Okay, so let us see the structure of stamen, which is a male reproductive part of a flower. Stamen is not also called androecium, which is male reproductive part of a flower. Long, elongated structure. Okay, this long elongated stalk-like structure is called filament. You already know. And this bulbous structure is nothing but anther. And where these microspores are produced, pollen grains, they are produced inside the anther. Pollen grain is very small in size. That is why it is called microspore. Micro means small. Macro means or mega means big. Okay, pollen grain is very small in size. That's why pollen grain is also called as microspore. So process of formation of these pollen grains inside the anther is called microsporogenesis. Genesis means formation or synthesis. Okay, now how these pollen grains are produced inside the anther, how to know that process? For that you have to take cross section of, you have to cut the anther and see how it is there inside. When I take a cross section of anther, how it looks like? It is like a butterfly like structure. The same thing, I have taken cross section, I have cut here, then I opened it, then it looks like that. Okay. The structure is like this. Okay, so and this anther is defined as dithecous bilobed anther. You know why it is called like that. You have learnt. Okay, dithecous. Theca means layers. Okay, 2 layers are there here, outer layers. So it is called dithecous. Theca means layer. Okay, wall. This is one wall, this is second wall. So it is dithecous, 2 layers. Then bilobed. Lobe means what? In this butterfly like structure, if I should show in color, see, I will put one line here. This is left lobe and this is right lobe. Okay, so this is lobe number 1, this is lobe number 2. Lobe means, see, like this. This 2 wings. Okay, this is one wing, this is other wing. This is one lobe, this is other lobe. Okay. Then what are these round structures? This is one lobe, this is other lobe. Each lobe has 2 round structures. This lobe has these 2. This lobe has these 2. What are these structures? These are microsporangium. Angium means bag-like structure. Sporangium means bag-like structure containing spores. As this bag-like structure is containing pollen grains, which is also called microspores, that is why it is called microsporangium. Microsporangium meaning in English is bag-like structure which contains microspores. There are 4 bag-like structures. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. 4 bag-like structures which contains microspores. That is what in their language they said microsporangia. So 4 microsporangia are there. Singular, if only one is there, sporangium. If more than one are there, then it is sporangia. You know that. So 4 microsporangia are there and 2 microsporangia in one lobe. So this is one lobe and this is second lobe if you cut in the center. Okay, so it has 2 lobes. That's why anther is defined as bilobed anther. Okay, so bilobed anther. Then microsporangia develops further and becomes pollen sacs. Pollen sac means pollen bags. Microsporangium later becomes pollen bags. Pollen bag means bag-like structure containing pollen grains. Nothing but pollen grain is nothing but microspores. Now microsporogenesis means, genesis means formation. Microspore is pollen grain. Formation of pollen grain in the anther. How it is produced, how these pollen grains are produced inside the anther, to know that only we have taken cross section. Okay, 2 diagrams are there even in the textbook also. Sometimes students will be confused. In the exam, sometimes they ask to draw a neat label diagram of transverse section of young anther. Sometimes they ask mature anther, not same diagram. There are 2 different diagrams. Okay, 2 different diagrams are there. If they ask young anther, then you have to draw that structure which is closed here. There is no opening anywhere. When they ask you to draw mature anther, then you have to show open structure like this. Open structure means it is break open and all the pollen grains will be released, because mature anther becomes dry, anther wall becomes dry and it will break open, that and all the pollen grains will be released outside. Young anther means it is closed, no pollen grains can go out, it is not dry. Okay, so once pollen grain becomes mature and the outer wall opens, that process is called dehiscence of anther. dehiscence of an anther. If I say that, see that anther dehisced, dehisced means, you know, broke, means break open, okay, its wall breaks open and all the pollen grains will be released. That is possible in mature anther. Anther when it is young, okay, anther when it is young, it will not be dry. Anther when it grows and becomes bigger and mature, then the wall becomes dry, it loses water, and when the wall becomes dry, it will break open and all the pollen grains will be released. That process of release of pollen grain or breaking of wall of anther is called dehiscence, dehiscence of anther. Okay, so when they ask you to draw cross section of young anther, then you should draw closed structure. When they ask you to draw mature anther, then open, which has space here, that you have to draw. That you can see the textbook. Anyway, I will draw that diagram now. So let us quickly see the diagram. Young anther, transverse section of young anther, when you see, it is simple structure. This is one microsporangia, this is other microsporangia, this is third microsporangia, this is fourth microsporangia. And if you cut in the center, this is one lobe and this is other lobe. One lobe has two microsporangia and this lobe has two microsporangia. If you cut in the center, no? Okay, these two wings are one lobe, these two wings are other lobe. This is young anther which is completely closed, nowhere it is open, then it becomes young anther. Then it is dithecous, so you have to draw double layer here. Two theca layers, two coverings are there. Okay, so when they ask you to draw mature anther, then you have to draw it like a Om shape, you know, Om shape like this. This is reverse Om I am drawing now. So, or else English number 3, you have to draw here and this is reverse. Then you have to join it. Here also. Okay. Then lot of tissues are there here which you have to draw. You have to fill it. This is young anther, this is mature anther. How can you say that it is mature anther? Because it dehisced. It has break open and all the pollen grains will be released from these sides. Okay. So here tissues are there, you can just draw. I'll draw it fast. So you have to fill it. This is waste of time actually, filling the cells inside. Okay, so then inside there will be pollen grains. These are all, should I show in different colors? Okay, I'll show pollen grains in yellow color. Okay. See, this is dehisced anther now. Dehisced means the outer wall, what was there here, that wall becomes dry and it will break open. It will break open and all the pollen grains will be released out. You can see that it is already open. it has no wall, so all the pollen grains can go out. That process is only called dehiscence of anther. Then what about the layers of these anther? Layers means, what is this outer layer? When you zoom it means one small part of this layer, these cells, okay. If I zoom it, then how it looks like? How many cells are there? How many layers of cells are there? Okay, so the cell layers are like this. I'll take one small piece of this part, okay, from here till here. Then I'll zoom it. So first layer, this is first layer, then this is second layer, then third layer, fourth layer, then fifth layer, what are these layers called as? The outermost layer is called as epidermis, endothecium. Outermost layer is epidermis. The next layer is called endothecium. You know this, endothecium. Then 2 to 3 layers, like 1, 2, 3 layers. These are called middle layers. Middle layers. Then next comes sporogenous tissue. Sporogenous word refers, genus means which produces in future. That means sporogenous means these cells in future becomes spores or microspores. Andre ee cells munde microspores aagtade anta. Okay, these spores in future becomes microspores. So these are called sporogenous tissue. Then some layer is required which gives nutrition or food for growing these cells. Okay, so the innermost layer here, innermost layer, one layer comes in the center, that is called tapetum. You know this, Tapetum, tapetum, which is nutritive layer. Nutrition means giving food. Some cells are required which gives food to this sporogenous tissue. The sporogenous tissue in future becomes spores. Which spores? Microspores or pollen grains. Okay, so as these cells in future becomes pollen grains, or these cells which produces pollen grains, so these are called MMC, that is microspore mother cell. Mother gives birth to young ones, either son or daughter. So these are cells which gives birth to microspores. So these are like mother to microspores. So they are microspore mother cells. Microspore is also called as pollen grains. So they are also called as PMC, pollen mother cell, because these cells in future produces pollen grains. So they are also called pollen mother cells. Okay, so okay, then one microspore mother cell, one MMC, can produce how many pollen grains? One microspore mother cell produces 4 pollen grains. How? That we will see in next class. You already know this, but this is neat, so I will go step by step. Okay, so that we will see. Then structure of pollen grain in detail also we will learn, like outer layer called exine, inner layer is entine, then vegetative cell, generative cell, all that we will learn in next class. Okay, so till here we have learned today in NEET. So let us see questions. Today's question is very interesting because these questions are asked in NEET 2016, NEET 2017. Okay, NEET questions only. So you will come to know how exactly NEET questions will be. Okay, so previously asked questions on these chapters. So I have to focus these questions. See now, I think clearly you can see this. Yeah? Okay. So can you see these questions? Okay, so first question is, which of the following statements is not true? This question is asked in NEET 2016. You can see NEET 2016 question it is. Okay, which of the following statements is not true? Option A, tapetum helps in dehiscence of anther. Dehiscence means, anther breaks open and pollen grains will be released. Exine of pollen grains is made up of sporopollenin, which is the hardest material. In theory you have learnt. Most of the species of pollen grains can cause allergic reactions. None of the above. Okay, so which option according to you? It is option A. Which of the following is not true? Tapetum helps in dehiscence of anther, they said. Tapetum gives food or nutrition to pollen grains. It is not helpful for dehiscence of anther. So it is wrong answer. Exine of pollen grain is made up of sporopollenin is correct. So that is why exine is tough. Okay. Most of the species of pollen grain can cause allergic reaction. That is also correct. Some people are allergic to rose. When they take smell of rose, pollen grain goes inside and causes severe sneezing. That is all allergic reactions. Okay. None of the above is not possible. So it is option A. Tapetum helps in dehiscence of anther is wrong. Tapetum is nutritive tissue. It doesn't give support to dehiscence. Then pollination in water hyacinth, that is Eichhornia, and water lily is brought about by agency of media of this theory chapter. This theory of this chapter, pollination by different agents, whether pollination in water hyacinth and water lily is by bats, water, mollusks, insects or wind. So which is correct answer according to it? It should be option D, insects. Okay, so pollination in water hyacinth is brought about by insects, okay, which we are going to learn in next class. But you already know theory chapter, you have written test on this chapter, so it is direct textbook question. It is not so difficult for you. Next, in majority of the angiosperms, options. Angiosperm means flowering plants. A small central cell is present in embryo sac. Egg has filiform apparatus. There are many antipodal cells. Reduction division occurs in megaspore mother cells. This is also a question asked in NEET 2016, which we are going to learn next. But you know this because first year also you had double fertilization, triple fusion, and theory you have already learned. This is direct textbook question only. So by this you will come to know that they are not asking anything much beyond the textbook. They are asking in NEET questions based on textbook only. That is why I say you should read textbook word by word. Every sentence in textbook you should know. So, in majority of the angiosperms, which is correct answer? Small central cell is present in embryo sac. Egg has filiform apparatus. There are many antipodal cells. Reduction division occurs in megaspore mother cells. Actually, I want to explain more on these questions, but one class is only actually 45 minutes, but some classes I have taken 1 hour and all. Okay, but camera takes only 45 minutes. After that it becomes a second video. Okay, so we have some limitations. That's why I said I gave you my number. You can ask more doubts, more clearance and all. Okay, and yeah, anyway you note down these questions. You can read or you can ask question to me and you can understand more. Okay, so which is correct answer? It should be option D. In angiosperms, reduction division means meiosis. Meiosis occurs in megaspore mother cells. Meiosis means 2n number of chromosomes are reduced to half. So pollen grain will have half the number of chromosomes. This meiocyte. Suppose onion has 16 chromosomes in their meiocytes, then how many chromosomes will be there in their pollen grains? So it should be 8, isn't it? So then the egg has a filiform apparatus. That is over. Okay, fourth question. Attractants and rewards are required for. This is for pollination in flower. Some flowers will be colorful. They attract insects. And when insects visit these flowers, flower gives some prizes or rewards. Okay, what are those? So, attractants and rewards are required for. Hydrophily. Hydro means water. Hydrophily means pollination through water. Anemophily means pollination through wind. Entomophily means pollination through insects. Then all the above. Which is correct? according to you? It should be option C, entomophily, insects. You know that insects will get attracted to colorful flowers. Okay, when insects visit a flower, what is the prize or reward flower gives? Nectar. Nectar is a sweet fluid. Okay, and along with that it gives pollen grains also. Pollen grains will be stuck on their body. When they go to next flower, the pollen grain will fall on stigma. Okay, then pollination occurs. This is a question asked in NEET 2017. Okay, then next question. The morphological nature of the edible part of coconut is, which is the edible part of coconut? This is also from textbook only. Endosperm, ectoderm, cotyledon. Option D, which is, what is that option D means? I think it is typing error. Okay, so this is asked in NEET 2017. So morphological nature of edible part means, you know, that white part of the coconut which we use for cooking. What is that part? What is that part called as? That part is endosperm, isn't it? First, in tender coconut it is like a fluid, like a mucus. Okay, that is called liquid endosperm, which we drink, tender coconut. Then it becomes hard white color kernel. That is a solid endosperm, isn't it? Endosperm part. Okay, question number 6. These are all textbook questions. A dioecious flowering plant prevents both. Anyway, these are all questions based on next chapter, next concept which I am going to teach in next class. Okay, so anyway, now if we discuss also, it is of no use because I have to teach this again. Okay, so with this, let us see in next class. I'll put the same slide, same question, so that we will discuss in detail. First we will discuss in theory, then we will discuss these questions. Otherwise, for one question, half an hour I have to explain. Okay, so anyway, I hope you have understood these concepts. Okay, little concepts only we will discuss in detail, much beyond the textbook also. Okay, I hope you all have understood.